Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now before we get into the video, I do want to apologise that I've been away for a few days. I've just had quite a few things on and I'm currently kind of transitioning into basically doing my main job and YouTube as a kind of 50-50 split, so I get more time to basically focus on doing YouTube. It's been quite a full-on thing for over a year, trying to balance YouTube and full-time work, so I'm going to try and do a bit of a 50-50 split, at least for a little while anyway, to see how it works out. But let's get into today's video. As you probably guessed, we're going to be talking about the Ford Roadster, a car that came in, I believe, the May or June 2022 update, alongside the Suzuki Escudo Pikes Peak and the Watkins Glen track. Now, if you refer to what happened with the Suzuki Escudo, basically that thing got glitched, didn't appear for, I believe, something like 8 months, maybe 9 months, and then eventually it did return, I believe, last update, so not 1.32 but 1.31. Essentially, the rotation of that car got absolutely bugged out within the Legends dealership. It was something to do with the newer system, which is the kind of wish listing system, which makes cars appear. Basically, it completely glitched that out and it just disappeared completely. Eventually, it did come back. They did manage to get that one fixed. However, there was also another car that's affected by the exact same thing. That being, well, the Ford Roadster. Obviously. Now, if you know about this car, this is again another car that's not appeared since I think about August time of 2022, a little bit just after the Escudo Pikes Peak first had its bug. This thing then followed suit and it's not appeared since. And we know recently, because of an update from Nankai himself, the guy that basically goes in, mines all the kind of data and, you know, finds everything out about Gran Turismo 7, that basically there is no fix for the Ford Roadster just yet, and it's not looking that way for at least up to another 3 months, which means at that point it would be at least 11 months since this car last showed or appeared in the used car dealership. That would take us up into July or August time. You know, in all honesty, it's just unbelievable that this has just not been fixed at this point. They fix one and then they completely don't know what to do with the other, and in all honesty, I've seen plenty of comments going around of people wanting to get their hands on this because A, they either have an engine swap for it, or B, they never got the chance first time around and this is the only car they need to complete their collection, which massively sucks, knowing that they will have to wait at least another 3 months bare minimum to actually get their hands on this thing, and even then it's not guaranteed that it will be fixed. Yeah, it's just not a good look for Polyphony, or really the Legends dealer in general. The fact that Polyphony can basically put post-launch cars in the game and then have them disappear by complete accident for over a year without a fix is just absolutely bizarre. As you'll know, most of these cars will rotate on a 2 to 2.5 month basis. Some feel like they come along a lot more. I think that kind of is the case, but you know, at a maximum, you're waiting around about 2.5 months for a car to reappear, which is bad enough. You know, this is all about car collecting, but then you shut off a portion of the game for an entire few months, and people can't complete their collections and they're just sat around waiting, and then people might just get bored and completely disappear. Well, those people that are waiting for this car are going to have to wait upwards of a year. I can guarantee most people won't come around to picking up this car anymore, and even if they did, they'd probably just buy it and that would be them done with this game. The fact that it's just a single car that's completely glitched and there just isn't a fix for it in sight, or at least anytime soon, just seems like a bit of an issue in general. And to be quite honest, it kind of turns me away from the idea of having these cars in rotation. What's the point in putting content into a game if that content has a risk of completely breaking and then kind of being removed from the game for a period of time? In all honesty, I definitely think Polyphony should start kind of reevaluating this whole Legends system and just do the right thing, let's be honest, and give us all of the cars available whenever we want to buy them. Waiting around is just not fun. It doesn't even make the cars really any more special. Yes, it's a good feeling when you get your hands on them, but then if you think about all the time that you spent in between just waiting for one car to appear, and then you'll perhaps maybe use it a handful of times, it's just not really worth the wait. And the fact that there is the risk of the, you know, bug happening elsewhere, I honestly think they need a updated system in general, or they just just need to completely get rid of it entirely and just put them into the brand central, or maybe just kind of put them in the used car dealership or lot, whatever you want to call it. And that is another thing that I kind of want to just quickly touch on before we end on this little update video. Why does it seem that the Legends dealer gets broken, but the used car dealership never does? It's a really quite weird situation. If you didn't know, again, used cars will rotate basically. So, you know, at least every other day you've got a couple of cars coming in that weren't there. Some will then go. I'm not sure on the rotation basis. It does seem a lot quicker. There's a lot more cars available. But again, it does rotate. It is a very similar system to the legendary dealership, but for some reason it just doesn't seem to break. So, you know, perhaps maybe go into a system if they don't want to get rid of it entirely, you know, almost like the used car dealership, and go into a more kind of wide range of cars. If that system works there and the legendary system has a risk of completely breaking, maybe it's time for Polyphony to, you know, possibly go down that route as well. So let me know what you think of this whole situation. Do you even like the legendary car rotation? Do you think there should be a different system in place for those cars? Or do you think they should just be readily available? Personally, I would actually like to see something that goes back to the older Gran Turismo games, where it goes off of your actual time played, so it's unique to you and not server based. So let's say if you're on a certain day in the game, like in old Gran Turismos, you'd have a certain list of cars, and then vice versa, you know, you'd have to play a certain amount of time till that car appears again in the used car dealer or whichever kind of side of the dealer that you're in. I definitely think that works a lot more. It's not server based. There was a lot less risk of it breaking, although there was still few cars in the old Gran Turismo games that basically refused to appear unless it was on very specific days. But still, I just feel like overall it was a much more reliable system, and something like that would actually work well with Gran Turismo 7. And I guess the other question is, do you actually own this car? There seems to be most people actually don't at this point. I feel like the people that were possibly playing more casually around then have kind of left the game and stuff. But for me, I got it on day one. Obviously, I wouldn't mind another to be able to put an engine swap in it and have a standard and a engine swap one. I believe it's the Coyote engine that goes in this one. But yeah, let me know if you actually own this car. I'd be very interested to see kind of what percentage actually owns the car and what doesn't. And, you know, if you don't, are you actually excited or even going to pick this up when it does reappear? So thank you so much for watching. I honestly cannot apologise enough for the bit of the kind of delaying content. Like I said, I am going through a bit of a big change in my kind of lifestyle at the minute. I was trying to get everything in place. So if the content is still kind of sporadic for a few days, I'm hoping it will kind of settle down by the beginning of next week. Because hopefully this does give me more time to kind of focus on my content, bring you better content over time. I'm currently working on a few league race videos, which do take quite a bit of time, usually on average about 10 to 15 hours, especially in the format that I'm doing them now. I'm trying to get them as professional looking as possible. So again, I do kind of apologise for this whole transition period and kind of being away and inactive for a while, but I am back, you know, for now anyway. Hopefully it will settle down over the next few days. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications on if you want to keep up to date with the channel, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a fantastic day, guys. Peace.